Hello, our today's topic is dummy variables. So, as we already discussed during the very first lecture, dummy variables or binary variables, this is another common name, can take only two values, 0 and 1. Dummy variables are used in order to indicate and analyze some categorical effect. For instance, you can use dummy variables in order to analyze the effect of European Union membership on international trade. You can use them in order to analyze the effect of gender on wages. You can analyze the effect of gender on how the number of children affects wages. In other words, you can analyze whether the effect of children on wages is the same for males and females. You can analyze the effect of season on ice cream sales or the effect of ethnicity on students' academic performance. So there are many applications, of course. Here I listed just those we are going to discuss during this lecture. So we will start with the simplest case of using dummy variables, and we will analyze the effect of dummy variables using gravity model of international trade. You are already familiar with this model. We discussed it during the previous lecture. I will just briefly recall the variables. So the dependent variable is the natural logarithm of international trade between countries I and j in period t. Beta 0 stands for the value of intercept. In other words, it describes the volume of international trade if other variables are equal to 0. The natural logarithm of distance is expected to have a negative coefficient because we assume that geographical distance affects international trade volume negatively. We expect beta 2 to be positive because we assume that economic weight of trade partners affects the volume of international trade positively. And the new variable we introduce is European Union membership dummy. So this variable takes the value of 1 if both countries are European Union members in period t and the value of 0 otherwise. I would like you to pay attention to the fact that otherwise can include two options. It is possible that only one country is European Union member in this period, and it's possible that neither of trade partners are European Union members in this period. However, based on how we design this dummy variable, we do not make any difference between the latter two options. We are just interested whether two countries are members of European Union simultaneously in period t or whether this is not true. So maybe it will be more clear if we take a look at the data set. As usual, it's attached to materials for this lecture, and we also used it during the previous one. So if you wish, you can open the Excel file if you find it more convenient, or if you would like to run this regression yourself. So take a look. In this data set, we analyzed the volume of international trade between Poland and major trade partners from 1995 till 2016. In period 1995, EU dummy takes the value of 0, and it takes the value of 0 before 2004. So, even though Germany used to be the member of European Union even before 2004, Poland joined European Union in 2004. That's why only since 2004 it's true that both countries are European Union member states. So it's really important to know how dummy variable is specified in order to be able to interpret the output of regression model correctly. So this is the output of the regression model. And as you can see, the variable EU dummy has a positive coefficient. And the value of this coefficient is approximately 0.55. And please keep in mind that dependent variable is expressed as logarithm of international trade volume, and that's why we will have to interpret coefficient, keeping in mind that we analyze relative change in international trade. So our result tells us that on average pairs of countries being European Union members have 0.55%, because as I told you, we express dependent variable as the natural logarithm, 0.55% higher because of positive coefficient volume of international trade in comparison to trading partners which are not both EU members. Again, we compare a situation where both trading partners are European Union member states to situation when this is not true. So it is not true in case when only one country is European Union member, and it's not true in the case when neither of two trading partners are European Union member states. So this is how we interpret this. And when it comes to this type of model specification with dummy variables, so in this model we include dummy variable as a separate variable. If the value of dummy is equal to 0, then the value of horizontal intercept, for all the variables, for all the observations, for all the trading partners is equal to beta 0. So if beta 3 is equal to 0, then we neglect the fact of European Union membership, and we can conclude that the volume of international trade the same. However, in our case, beta 3 is positive and statistically significant. That's why we can use it for our interpretation. So it's equal to 0 for pairs of countries which are not European Union member states simultaneously. So for these pairs of countries, the value of horizontal intercept is equal to beta 0. However, if the value of dummy is equal to 1, so both countries are European Union member states in period t, then the value of horizontal intercept is equal to beta 0 plus beta 3. So it will mean that these pairs of countries have higher value of horizontal intercept. In simple words, it means that European Union members are characterized by the bigger volume of international trade, regardless of other variable values. So if we analyze the relationship between geographical distance and trade, then this will be regression line for pairs of countries in which not both countries are European Union members, and this is the regression line for countries which are European Union members. Both of them are European Union members. So since beta 3 is positive and statistically significant, the value of beta 0 plus beta 3 will be higher than the value of beta 0, and we can conclude that for countries which are both European Union member states, the volume of trade is higher than for countries which are not both European Union member states, regardless of the values of other variables. So that was it. In the next video, we are going to discuss a bit different model specification using dummy variable, and I really hope you enjoyed this one.